Sincerest apologies to Joe Pantoliano for this. Hey, the following podcast contains spoilers for Bound. You have been warned. I'm sorry, Mr. Pantoliano.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast with two goons. We got two goons and two motherfuckers.
Two gabagools.
Gabagools. You know, we got the Glenjamin Button along with your boy, fucking Miguel Magusto. How you doing, buddy?
I'm a good. How are you doing?
We're doing it. We whacking people off and on, like Miyagi said. What's that, wax? Oh, I thought he said whack. Whatever.
We gotta get past that.
We're moving on. How many movies did you watch, my friend? Did you watch any more Italian people just saying things?
I did not watch Italian people.
I can't believe it.
I watched Jewish people, but I'm not gonna touch that with the 39.5-foot pole, if you know what I'm saying. Little
I hear
Grinch.
you.
Yeah, I watched 9 movies. Still jealous of your week, even though it wasn't as distant as I thought. First one I watched is The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. And, you know, I kind of knew it before, but this movie really solidified how much I don't like Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
He's just the worst part of every movie he's in. And
Usually.
I feel bad about saying it because, you know, I know a lot of people love him and stuff, but like...
I think the only one that me personally I've ever was Ghostbusters, and he was, like you said, they're the weakest in that.
Yeah, like Bill Murray's better in that. Not Gordon Ramsay. What's his name?
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay's better than him in that, too, and he's not even in it.
Yeah, everyone's better in Ghostbusters, but yeah, Dan Aykroyd ruined this. I thought John Candy was good as usual. I just wish I got to enjoy it more, but Dan Aykroyd just ruined it. It's a fine movie. It's definitely outdated. Comedy movies back then had like the budgets of sitcoms, and it looks like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. A Great Outdoors. Then I watched Together with what's her name? Patty Harrison. Yeah, Patty Harrison and Ed Helms. It's essentially about this single man who hires a woman named Anna to be a surrogate for him, you know, because he wants a kid and he knows that, you know, he's kind of running out of time. And so, yeah, it's just them kind of bonding throughout that process where she's kind of reluctant at first to be close to him. And Patty Harrison is hilarious. Not necessarily in this movie. She's more dramatic in this movie, but she is one of the recurring actors in I Think You Should Leave, which for anyone who listens to this knows I love that show.
You love it.
She's the tables lady in season 2. Have you watched season 2 yet, Glenn?
I haven't finished it.
Oh, Glenn. Did you get to the table sketch?
I've been watching a lot of movies, man.
Did you get to the table sketch at least?
I watched the first 2 episodes so far.
I don't think the table sketch is in that one. But she is in episode 2, I believe, where she's in like a Shark Tank thing and she hates Charlie Brown. Yeah. So.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that's Together. Pretty solid film. Then I rewatched The Green Knight because I had time and nothing new came out and I wanted to see it. So I rewatched it and I really liked it. And however, I will say it went from being my favorite movie of the year to being my second favorite movie of the year.
Okay.
Because that movie 9...
What was your second? What was your second?
Sorry, what was my second?
Yeah.
Well, the movie that beat it out for top film of the year was in like 4th or 5th place. But like over time has gone up. It was Minari, which is now 3rd.
Yeah.
Green Knight. But then the movie 9 Days, which I saw a few weeks ago, it's stuck with me really, really well. Even more so than the Green Knight, which I really like. So 9 Days is now number 1. Green Knight's number 2, but I still love Green Knight. It's just, you know, 9 Days is more my jam.
Yeah.
9 Days is as if like David Lowery made another movie about souls and stuff, but he didn't. So
those souls.
So yeah, Green Knight, Great movie. Then I watched Shiva Baby because I watched this list of like 10 near perfect movies, and this was one of them. I would agree that the technique to tell the story is perfect, but the story itself is not perfect. If that makes sense. Like it's technically the way it's told is great. It's essentially about this woman who hires herself out to be a sugar baby, hence the name Shiva Baby. Goes back to sit Shiva with her family for a family friend, and the last person that hired her to be a sugar baby, which is a sugar daddy, is hiring them for sex. It's another name for a prostitute, essentially. He's there, and she finds out he's married and has a kid and everything, even though like with them it's more of a relationship than just being a prostitute, essentially. It creates very comedic situations. But yeah, it's fine. It's a fine movie. The technique is definitely better than the story itself. But that's Shiva Baby. Then I watched Reminiscence. I watched that at home because I really just didn't care about it, and I only have a limited amount of theater visits I can do a week now that I have a baby. So I watched Reminiscence at home. Glad that I did that because I was between seeing that in theaters or rewatching Suicide Squad in theaters. And Reminiscence just didn't do it for me. It's an interesting story that follows the wrong person.
Interesting.
Where like Rebecca Ferguson's characters is so much more interesting than Hugh Jackman's. But it follows Hugh Jackman and not Rebecca Ferguson, and it's a detriment to the story, in my opinion.
The last time I heard you say that was for Sicario.
Yes, Sicario also follows the wrong person. And Sicario 2 did nothing to fix that, which I was disappointed about, even though it does follow him, Benicio del Toro. It followed him in the least interesting part of his life.
A little too late, too.
too little, too late. Then I rewatched Suicide Squad, which, if you've seen our review video, we both love.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I still love it. Polka Dot Man is still my boy. I want a movie with just him. And kudos to James Gunn for making and David Dastmalchian for making Polka Dot Man a ridiculous concept of a character, very, very interesting and entertaining. Then I watched Bound. We're going to get to in a second. Then I watched Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, in 4DX with my wife because she's a Harry Potter nerd. And Glenn, I know you know this already, but I want to paint a little picture.
Yeah, this is a great picture to see.
So, for those of you who don't know, 4DX is essentially an overly immersive experience for movies. It's more of a ride than anything. It's got moving seats.
It's everything Martin Scorsese said.
Yes,
about Marvel movies.
It turns it into a roller coaster. It's got moving seats. It's got wind, the water, smoke, bubbles,
even snow.
Is there smell?
Snow.
Oh, snow. Oh, snow. It's got snow. Does it have smells though?
I don't think smells.
Okay.
I know it's got like flashes like for thunder.
I know when they showed at the feast scene, I heard like a psh sound but didn't smell anything and nothing else happened.
That's weird.
So I don't know what it was. But anyway, so
probably
moving
just
seats.
Air, but anyway,
and like most seats, the cup holders are attached to the seats. So when the seats move, the cup holders move. And this absolute maniac in front of me, before the movie started, but after a few trailers in which we experienced movement, took the lid off of his 32-ounce soda, put the lid on the ground so he couldn't reach it, and then put the cup in the cup holder. I don't think you need to be a physicist to know that that is not a good idea. That liquid is going to splash everywhere.
If anybody's ever touched any sort of roller coaster ride or anything, it's going everywhere.
Spoiler alert, it did splash everywhere. Every time the seat moved, it splashed on his leg. And this motherfucker had the audacity to complain every time it splashed on his leg. Every time he went, and turned to the person, he's like, it splashed on my leg again. And then they would say something, I'm assuming, like, yeah, no shit, dumbass motherfucker, put the lid on. This is just, I don't know why this keeps happening. That's how I imagined it went.
I
all
love
I heard was
when people don't research what they're going into.
well, yeah, but hey, that's what lids are for.
That is literally what lids are for.
Yeah, and it's just like if it happens
To contain
once,
your container.
if it happens once, I understand. Put a lid on. But what is the definition of insanity? Having the same thing happen over and over again, and you do the same thing and expecting a different result. That's not the exact definition of insanity. But
somebody wrote that down.
So, like, Caitlin and I were the entire time, we're just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And it was just mind-boggling. I've never seen anything so dumb. Anyway, Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, whatever you want to call it. Then I watched Candyman. We're going to have a review. Probably when this episode comes out, we're going to have a review on our YouTube channel. So check that out. Candyman, the new one, not the 1992 one. So, yeah, that's all I watched. 10 minutes have gone by. Glenn, I'm sorry to have taken so much time.
It's okay. I'm going to blow through mine.
What movies have you watched?
So I was dog sitting this weekend for my mother while she was at the beach. And first off, I started out with a little nice sit down with Bob Ross. Ooh. Except for this was a documentary about how people betrayed him and didn't listen to contracts and shit like that.
Oh, no.
So Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. It was about the people he was partnered with throughout his career doing the paintings and stuff like that. And how they basically took his will and testament saying that anything that he had as far as to his name will go to his son and his brother. And his brother kind of fucked him over after he died and let the partners have everything, which was included the 51% of his shares and then the 49% of his son's shares. So his son didn't get anything.
That's fucked up.
So like he fought that and didn't even win because they just owned all the rights legally and technically, and it's completely so anything Bob Ross, if anybody buys something Bob Ross, it goes to these greedy bastards who just fucked over Bob Ross.
I hate people like that.
Oh, yeah.
So fucking
people are
shitty.
so willing to screw over nice people. It's insane.
Yeah, just for money, too. Like, guess what? No one's going to fucking remember you when you die, so
Yeah.
don't be a fucking asshole.
So it definitely made me never want to buy anything Bob Ross as much as that hurts my heart. I do have like a Funko Pop, and kind of knowing that went to those people kind of hurts my soul.
Yeah, I have not given any money to Bob Ross, but, you know, I didn't know that. It's just not... I like Bob Ross, but not enough to buy stuff.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But
yeah,
I
that's
probably won't
fucked
be
up.
buying anything about that in the future. I'll be doing his paintings, though, for sure.
Yeah.
I love the man, and he has a soothing voice, puts me to sleep sometimes, and his paintings are works of art because they're literally works of art. Anyway,
Yes, they are.
after that, I had watched $1 Million Baby at one point, and I wanted to rewatch it because I didn't remember shit about it.
Yeah.
So I rewatched that. It's a great film as always. If you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend. I know he's a director known for kind of like, he does like the first takes and that's really it. I wish he would have done more for the fight scenes because they kind of show off they're not actually hitting each other and shit like that.
It's fine with like just speaking scenes,
Yeah.
but with action scenes you need a few takes.
Yeah, I'm not saying go all out and like Dolph Lundgren and Sylvester Stallone it where they actually knock each other out or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, they could have did a couple better, shots. But anyway, it's a great movie. Obviously, the second half for me is much better than the first half. But onward. The next one I watched was a Robert De Niro film called Midnight Run, which is a little comedy where he's a bounty hunter taking in one of his little suspects in for some money. And dear God, is like not many people can kind of upstage De Niro for me. But Charles Grodin in this was so fucking funny.
Oh yeah, he's great.
And just how innocent he was. And just,
was great.
Yeah, and just how great he was and how his comedic timing throughout. Just like, just bothering De Niro for shit was so funny to me.
Did you watch it because he died this year or it just popped up?
It was just on Netflix and I wanted to see another De Niro film.
I saw that movie like 3 weeks before he died, and that's like the third time that's happened to me, and I'm starting to think that the movies I watch make people die.
I think so. I think you're cursed.
It happened with unfortunately it happened with Anton Yelchin. I watched Green Room 2 weeks before he died. Happened with I don't remember who the second person was, but it definitely happened with Charles Grodin. And now I'm a little worried.
Yeah, well, stop. I hope you don't watch anything with me in it anytime soon.
Ooh.
But after that, I've been trying to also catch up with our 2021 films that I have to do. So I watched The Woman in the Window, which I didn't like that much.
Yeah, it's not great.
It really isn't. For me, no matter really what, it's got a great cast. I will say that.
Yeah.
But it is all over the place for me. And I think for the review I put, I want to punch, not the cat in this movie, just the swift right hook. That would be great. And that's really all I'll say. I don't really have too much to say about that.
Yeah.
After that, I watched Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy 15 movie. I'm a nerd. I love Final Fantasy games, and this story for Final Fantasy 15 was great. So that's really why I watched it. It was okay. I wish the voice acting was a little bit, different and better. But, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Moving on after that, I don't know why I watched half the films that I watched this week. Maybe just to get them off my Netflix, roster, my list. Major Pain with, was it Damon Wayne, I think?
Yeah.
It was okay. It was very, very okay. I see why people like it in the 90s. It's a 90s movie for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just very goofy in not the greatest of ways. After that, I watched Before I Wake with what's his kid's name? Tremblay? Jacob Tremblay. That's it.
Jacob Tremblay.
Tremblay.
Yeah. It's spelled Tremblay, but because it's French, it's pronounced
Tremblay.
Tremblay.
Sorry, there was an ad in my ear and I got scared. That was actually a good movie until the end.
Really? Okay.
I know you're not probably going to like it because of Mike Flanagan.
I hate Mike
He directed it.
Hate his work. I'm sure he's a great person. I want to be very clear about that.
Yeah, it was good film till the end. I don't know. I don't really care for, and this is kind of coming off as rude as shit, I don't really care for Kate Bosworth that much. And the hair they gave Thomas Jane was quite a choice. But other than that, it was a good film. The ending kind of was rough, but it is what it is. Other than that, I think it was a pretty decent movie overall. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I watched The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which is an animated movie that just came out for the Witcher series. Kind of like a prequel movie, but I don't really necessarily know if it has anything to do with the series on Netflix itself. I'm not sure. I just watched it. It was okay. It was cool. If you like the Witcher, whole book series, games, whatever, you might like this. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Then after that, I watched Concrete Cowboy with Idris Elba and
the kid from Stranger Things, right?
Yes, Caleb MacLachlan.
Yeah.
This movie is great. It actually takes place in Philly, so I wanted to tell you, hey, you should watch this because
that will be 100%.
They say John. They say John in this.
Oh my goodness!
No, it's
I gotta get on that, John.
Yeah, it's about the people who live on Fletcher Street, and they have these stables. I think I just made the dog bark by doing that. And it's a really good film. And Caleb is fantastic in it. There was not as much Idris as I would have liked, but it's not really about him.
Yeah,
it's about this kid who's kind of getting out of being this bad kid, this juvenile, and he gets through that with the Fletcher Street Cowboys or whatever they're actually called. It's a really, really wholesome film. It's really cool, and Caleb's great in it. I think he's definitely one of the better actors coming out of Stranger Things, and I hope he continues to have a good career. Mm-hmm. After that, I watched Gunpowder Milkshake, which is kind of just a how do I put this? Kind of another mindless hitman type universe thing, where they build their whole universe like a John Wick. Everything's kind of compared to John Wick because it just obviously did it the best.
That's the problem. John Wick, that's the problem I have with movies in general is when one thing succeeds, you see a bunch of imitators.
Yeah.
When if film were a perfect art, which it damn near is in my opinion, but if it were 100% perfect, once something has been perfected, such as John Wick, no more would come out from it. You're not going to match it. So
Yes. For me, this was fun. You got a great cast of women in this movie. Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Chloe Coleman, Carla Gugino, and Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett. There's a bunch of people. Paul Giamatti's in this. Is it Ralph Ineson?
100% it's Ineson, and if you
I
Google
wanted to
it,
make sure
Google is
because I
wrong.
remember doing the whole skit, but I don't remember what Google said.
Google said
Innocent.
Innocent, which is wrong.
Yeah, so Ralph Ineson's in it. He's kind of just a bad guy in it, but I love his voice. It's I just want him to talk to me and wake me up in the morning. Wake the fuck up. I can't even do it. It's so deep.
Yeah.
It's a good mindless hitman movie. I think Karen Gillan's great in it. Everybody's great in it. But I mean, we've seen so many of these lately. It's hard to just be like, oh yeah, this was above and beyond the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're doing a sequel. I'm not against watching it in any sort of way. I'd be willing to absolutely watch it when it comes out. But it's just another one of those movies for me. And after that, I watched Bound, and then we're 20 minutes later. We can actually start talking about things.
Yes. Well, I got one piece of news first. Of course, it's a downer. Ed Asner actually passed away today, the day of recording, August 29th.
We got a double downer then.
Oh, boy. For those of you who don't know, Ed Asner was Carl in Up. He was Santa and Elf. Many of the older generations would know him as Luke Grant and Mary Tyler Moore Show. Just a great actor. He has 397 credits to his name, and he has actually 417 if you count all the ones that he is not going to be able to complete because they're in pre-production or announced, and assuming they don't do any bullshittery with like CGI and shit, which I am very against unless it states in their will that they can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ed Asner, great talent that died at the age of 91, so he lived a long and fruitful life.
For the double downer, I'll just hit it real quick. We're gonna switch that age backwards to 19.
Ooh.
And Matthew Mindler from he was in the movie Our Idiot Brother. He was 19 years old, found dead after being missing for the last week, and this is actually near us. So Millersville, Pennsylvania.
Oh damn!
The kind of, I'm not gonna say child star, but he was an actor at one point before.
He was found in Pennsylvania.
I mean, I guess he was living in Pennsylvania, going to college in Millersville.
He's from Manor Township, so that makes sense. But yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened, but apparently he was found dead as well.
Yeah. Well, that's very sad.
Yes.
So, again, downers everywhere.
Absolutely.
Let's get into Bound.
Something's gonna come along like it was made for you. Something that's gonna fit you like a glove. And that part of you that you got hidden away right now, that part of you that we know ain't straight, that's never gonna be straight, is gonna whisper in your ear. Just 3 little words. I want out.
What a way to transition that. Bound. Tough ex-con Corky and her lover Violet concoct a scheme to steal millions of stashed mob money and pin the blame on Violet's crooked boyfriend Caesar.
Ooh. Written and directed by Lana and Lily Wachowski, starring Jennifer Tilly, Gina Garrison, Joe Pantoliano, and John P. Ryan. Christopher Meloni is in there as well, for all of those Law and Order fans or just nice butt fans. I mean, that's what Instagram and TikTok love him for, is his butt. So yeah, stop sexualizing Christopher Meloni. Unless he's down for it, then just go for it. But yeah, this is it was chosen by Streaming Roulette, and I guess we should get into it. Where do we start?
We start by saying this is the one of the first, if not the actual first. I don't know if they did short films or anything like that. This is their first full length, at least, film. Bound, which is pretty. I've never actually watched most of their films at all. Not even the Matrix ones. I think I watched 1 and 2, but I don't even remember 2 at all.
2 is terrible. Everyone says 3 is worse, but I think 3 kind of leans into how dumb it is, whereas Reloaded tries to be smart but is super dumb. So,
actually, I lied. They did Cloud Atlas. I guess they wrote for Cloud Atlas.
They directed Cloud Atlas as well.
Did they?
And Speed Racer. Have you seen Speed Racer?
I guess they do. I have not seen Speed Racer.
What about Jupiter Ascending?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, most of their movies are misses. The Matrix is good.
I did. All right. So I did watch Cloud Atlas, The Matrix, and then obviously this. The rest are kind of not seen.
I have seen.
So as far as most of their career goes, I've never actually seen most of their stuff.
I think I've seen all, if not most of it. Not Sense8. I have not seen Sense8.
Yeah.
But that's a TV series. One,
It's on
3.
Netflix, I think.
I have seen all of their feature films now that I've seen Bound. So there's that.
Okay. There you go.
I'm kind of a Wachowski connoisseur.
Name 3 movies now.
The Matrix Reloaded, The Matrix Revolutions.
Oh man!
But yeah, I kind of liked the style from the get-go. It's obviously like their visual style. They have a very good idea of how to move the camera in an interesting way, and they mix that with like the old noir style of writing, where it's kind of like everyone's talking in hushed tones and just trying to seduce the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, of course.
with what they say. And I mean,
and Jennifer Tilly's like the queen of doing that too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, her voice. She could be ordering a Big Mac, and it would just be like, "Oh, yes, you can have a Big Mac, Jennifer Tilly."
You want 2? Yeah, absolutely.
But I was actually really impressed with this movie. For being a first time film, usually the technicalities of it are the things that falter, but I think technically this is a very strong film. I'm not a huge fan of the story. I think it's kind of boring and at points I enjoyed it for the most part, but at points it's boring and like it's just okay, move it along, let's get this done, we know where this is going. But once the main part of the plot, which is the scheme to steal the millions, once that actually gets going, it becomes very interesting. It just takes a while to get to that.
Yeah, because at first they're building this relationship with the 2 main characters.
Yeah, and that absolutely needed to happen. I was just, this is more on me than it is them.
No.
I just don't care about relationships in movies at all. I don't care about romantic relationships unless that is the plot. Whereas
15 minutes in, we got to see that plot. Absolutely.
We got to see so many plots.
You got so many plots.
No, it's a very erotic movie, and I could see why people like it for that alone, if that's what you're into. I'm
glad it really only happened once too, so it didn't happen multiple times. It was very, very sexual throughout the first half, and then it didn't really revisit that much afterwards, which was really great, because if it spent too much time on that, it just would have been way too distracting and took away from the other half of the film, which was probably the better part, obviously. I think in both of our opinions, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad it strayed away from that. And it was... I did like the story a lot as well.
I just realized I have no idea what I just agreed to, but I'm assuming that the
second half is better than the first.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. I just said while trying to read up on stuff, but I don't always do that. But every now and then I was just yeah. But yeah, the second half is definitely better than the first. Sorry to interrupt you. I just realized I should throw that out there.
Disgusting. I'm sorry. I think the setup for it is really great, and I think Joe's character was really well done. Joe Pantoliano. He killed it throughout this whole thing. I've only seen him in a few things as well. Obviously, Matrix is one of them. Daredevil's another one. Which
Bad Boys 1 and 2 and 3.
I think he was great in this movie. Yeah, and just his whole character and just flipping out and shit. He's great for the angry flip outs.
Oh yeah, the angry Italian, more or less. And I'm saying that because he's Italian, and all the characters he plays happen to be Italian.
Yeah.
Where he is angry, at least. Like in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, his name is Gabe Ugliano, so that's a very Italian name. But yeah, I love Joe Pantoliano. I think he's easily the best part of the Matrix, the first Matrix, and I'm sure many people will disagree because you got Neo and you got Morpheus, but there is no story without Joe Pantoliano's character, and he's the only. He's
and
the
honestly,
only.
There's no story here without Joe either.
There isn't. There really isn't. And, maybe that's a Wachowski thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've cracked the code.
We've cracked the code. This is like the third movie in a row that we've cracked the code for.
All of these ones and zeros. We're seeing them
now. But yeah, I think his character is just the best written. A lot of the dialogue between the two women kind of seemed... I don't want to say unrealistic because I'm not a lesbian, so I have no idea how lesbians interact with each other. But one of the lines, she's talking about a very small tattoo in one of the seduction scenes, and Jennifer Tilly's just like, "Oh yeah, it took her all day to do." I'm like, if you had a tattoo artist who took all day to do that, you should get your money back because it is like 2 inches long. I have a quarter of a sleeve that was done in an hour and a half. And so, yeah, it's just when I laughed out loud when they said that because I was like, "There's no way." They were just
trying to seduce each other, and she was doing it.
If that were the case, sure, but I am usually the one being seduced. I don't do the seducing, so I don't know how to.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. No, it was goofy. Some of the things that they said to each other, especially at the end. The end quote had me dying. I was like, what was it? It was like, "You know what the difference is between you and me, Violet?" She says, "No, I don't know why or what." She's like, "I don't know either." And then I just started laughing. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, it seems like that they wrote it and they were just like, "Fuck it, let's just keep it." But yeah, I think the dialogue is definitely the weakest part. However, I will say, usually in movies that have schemes, you can see like a plot hole or like a thought hole, if you will, in their scheme where like the person coming up with the plot obviously forgot to think of a very important part. The plan they came up with for anyone other than Joe Pantoliano was legitimately brilliant. And then, Joe Pantoliano's character just became super paranoid, and that kind of ruined it. Should they have thought about the paranoia aspect? Yeah, maybe, but, I thought it was a really clever scheme they came up with, which is hard to do in these kinds of movies. Usually there's just like, okay, that's dumb. But I think the biggest problem with this movie is its length. I don't think it needs an hour and 50 minutes.
Nah, a good shaving of like 15 minutes or so could have helped a lot.
And a lot of it off the beginning too. And then some parts that became repetitive towards the end.
I think the biggest problem for me with this was that no one lived in this apartment, apparently. this building.
Oh, yeah.
And no one called when there was bullets getting shot. I mean, they did once.
They established that the walls are super thin, too.
Yeah, and then nobody called whenever there was more gunshots, and just like, they were running through the halls screaming each other's name. Nobody called the cops again after that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I guess they just really think that TV's that loud.
Yeah, apparently.
It was really goofy, but I mean, I got over it to continue the story and stuff
it
like
is
that.
something that, like, you think about once and then you kind of suspend your disbelief for it. But not only that, but like it's kind of like, I know in the 90s that was probably a beautiful apartment, but it's kind of like a shitty looking apartment to me, where like just the way it's designed and stuff. I know that's subjective and everything, but I would never want to live in an apartment that looked like that. I would just be like, it feels like there's jizz coming out of the walls. It looks like the set of a porno.
Oh, well, for the first 15 minutes, there was going to be.
Well, yeah, but then they went to the other woman's house that she had a mattress on the basement, on the floor. I don't really have too much to say about this.
No, it's a very hard movie to talk about. I think the setup for it was great. I think the plan was great, and I think the whole sequence towards the end where they're trying to like figure out where the money is, or well, Joe's trying to figure out where the money went, is fantastic, and I think Joe kills it. I think Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon were great as well.
Yeah.
But it's just a really hard movie to talk about further than that. I think it's just one of those ones that you watch and have fun with, and then, I mean, it's really hard to critique, honestly. I think it's a great first film for the Wachowskis, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It is great. And I can definitely see how they got interest enough to do The Matrix after this. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think the pacing is a big problem of it, and just the overall story. But again, that is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's others who would disagree. I'm just not interested in side romances, which, a lot of people will be like, oh, this romance is very important to it. Yeah, sure, whatever. But the plot is stealing the money and trying to get out of the mob. It's not the romance. I'm not for those B-plot romances, personally. If you are, that's fine.
You know what? I'm willing to admit something.
Ooh, go for it.
I often get these two actors mixed up, Jennifer Tilly and Joey Lauren Adams, constantly.
Who's Joey Lauren Adams?
She's been in like Chasing Amy, Dazed and Confused, Big Daddy.
Oh, they do have very similar voices, yeah.
Yeah.
And how could you forget Biodome? That's
how dare Tisk Glenn, how dare
that is her Citizen Kane.
I always get these two mixed up. And it hurts my head. I'm like, oh, she's great in all those movies, and then I realize I'm like, oh wait, she's been in all these shitty movies. Jennifer Tilly's had a pretty, I mean, good for her career, because she's done a lot of things with like Chucky and shit like that. But also, that's not really the best career either, as far as that goes.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, then again, it's not me.
They've both been able to make money acting,
absolutely,
which is great. Good for them. But yeah, I could definitely see vocally how they they don't really look too much alike. But
not really, yeah.
Voice wise, yes, I see that. But never forget Biodome ever again.
I'll never do it again. That's
never do it. But yeah, I guess that's our review, right?
Yeah, it's. I don't know where I could go.
So that brings us to the judgment for Bound. Does it become a little shelf boy and go on our KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, or does it get thrown in the trash? Above Spring Breakers and Pink Flamingos, which have both been thrown in the trash.
Those are at the bottom of the trash.
For different reasons, but similar reasons at the same time. Glenn, I'm going to make you go first since you made me do the movies first.
That's fine. I don't necessarily think I would put this on the shelf. I think it's a great film for the Wachowskis as far as like, directorial debuts or anything goes. But I mean, I liked the movie. I just don't know if I would put it on a whole shelf and rewatch it again ever. That sounded blunt, and maybe it was, but it's true. I think it's a great movie, but I don't know if I'm that interested in ever really recommending it or anything like that again.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's a great first film. Never gonna watch it again. We'll probably remember bits and pieces of it, but overall, like 10 years from now, I see myself being like, I don't remember that movie much, but I remember I'm never going to watch it again. So Bound does not make it onto the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, but it doesn't go in the trash with Spring Breakers and Pink Flamingos either. That brings us to our plugs for this week. Since I made you do the judgment first, I'll go first for plugs. My plug... we talked about Green Knight earlier with movies I saw this week. I am going to plug the Green Knight director, who is David Lower, breaks down the Green Knight's introduction scene in Vanity Fair's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Where it's not even the introduction scene, unless you mean, oh yeah, I guess it is. Okay. The way it's phrased is weird, because it makes it seem like they're talking about the opening scene of the Green Knight, but they're talking about the scene that introduces the character of the Green Knight.
Yeah.
But yeah, David Lowery it's a 15-minute video where David Lowery breaks it down, tells you a lot about how they shot it, how they edited it, and everything.
Okay.
It's just really interesting. David Lowery is one of my favorite directors. Especially of those who have less than 10 films. I think he's got a lot of promise for his future. And yeah, so that is the Green Knight director breaks down the Green Knight's introductory scene on Vanity Fair's YouTube channel.
Hell yes.
Hi, I'm David Lowery, writer and director of The Green Knight, and this is Notes on a Scene.
Oh!
I grew up just loving the Arthurian legends and all the stories of the knights and their quests. And at some point, a couple years ago, I kind of felt like making a fantasy film. I really love movies like Willow and Excalibur, and I just wanted to make one of my own. And I remembered this poem, I remembered this story, and thought that it would make an excellent template for my own take on a medieval quest film. The scene we are watching today is the one in which Sir Gawain meets the Green Knight for the first time.
Mine's going to be a little bit more of a cop-out than yours. Yours is so much better than mine, and I'm just going to make this quick because I'm cringing just thinking about it anyway. I made us a TikTok.
Oh, gee. Oh, is that live now?
That is live. We don't really have any videos just yet. I'm trying to come up with some ideas for some stuff, and see what we can do with it. I'm not necessarily a fan of TikTok, but I know it's a platform we should be on, and that we will and are now going to be on.
Get the Zoomers.
We got to get these Zoomers. We're doing it. So just heads up, hey, we have a TikTok. That is my plug. It's Keystone Film Review. Obviously.
I'm going to create a TikTok just to watch that, unless you want to send me every video you post.
I'm gonna create one just to dislike all of these videos. How about that?
No, I just want to see what you post. I don't really want a TikTok. So if you send me the videos, I won't create one. But yeah, it's up to you.
I got you, baby.
Yeah, so those are our plugs for this week. That brings us to our assignment for next week. Talked about a video last week that I watched called Shiva Baby, or the movie Shiva Baby that I heard of from the 10 movies that are nearly perfect video that was on What Culture. So I am picking a movie from that list, and that movie is called Dave Made a Maze. And, you know, if you're a little worried that this is not going to be easy to find, don't worry. It's on Amazon Prime, IMDb TV, Tubi, Peacock, Vudu, Crackle, Sling TV, Fubo TV, and Philo. Everything. IMDb TV and Tubi and Vudu and Crackle do not include subscriptions, so you could just watch it. Just watch it on those. The other ones are subscriptions based. But yeah, that is Dave Made a Maze on all of those things. We're going to be watching on Amazon because it's easier. And that is written by Steven Sears and Bill Watterson, directed by Bill Watterson, starring Mira Rohit Kumbani, Nick Thune, Adam Bush, and James Urbaniak. Dave, an artist who has yet to complete anything significant in his career, builds a fort in his living room out of pure frustration, only to wind up trapped by the fantastical pitfalls, booby traps, and critters of his own creation. So essentially, he makes a maze out of cardboard in his thing, and it creates like this portal that he can't get out of.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it seems very interesting, and that is why I wanted to watch it. So that is Dave Made a Maze on literally everything but like Netflix and Hulu, essentially. Yeah, so check that out. I'm really excited about this. I like I like Nick Thune, who plays Dave. He's a stand-up comedian that's really funny. And yeah, I am looking forward to this. And Dave Made a Maze.
Got it.
Hey! What the?
Hey, baby! Welcome home!
What is this?
I built a labyrinth.
Have you been working on this all weekend?
I'm lost.
It's cardboard.
I know, but it's much bigger on the inside.
I'm going into the maze.
No! I don't want you to get lost!
Okay, just ignore me. Do what you're doing. Put some music over this. It'll be a montage. It'll be awesome.
Can we go in the maze now?
Let's go.
Stop!
Go, 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 go.
Yeah, so that is our assignment for next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, Keystone_film_review. Twitter, Keystone_film. Facebook, Keystone Film Review. YouTube, Keystone Film Review. TikTok, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week, when we're probably, like, trying to act 20 years younger and doing flossing and whatever else you kids do on TikTok. I'm definitely going to do the silhouette challenge. I could tell you
Oh
that
my
much.
god! I just had a heart attack waiting for that. Yes.
I'm not gonna do that.
Damn it.
I'm too sexy. You'll die. Bye, everybody.
Bye.